everybody to how to use the Slate 2 by iSkin. Now, if you have been watching my videos previously, you can see that I've been doing a bunch of time-lapse videos and also basically sharing my experience with the Slate 2 and all that good jazz. And I will leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. Also, I will leave the link to the official tutorial by iSkin in the description as well, so you kind of can learn the very basics. But this how to use tutorial of sorts is about tested in real battle, real artistic battle kind of shit. This is all about how to use it to your advantage. And after, it's been around 2 weeks now that I've been using it, and it's about the daily use, ups and downs and stuff like that. And it's 5 major things or 5 major obstacles that if you overcome them very soon, then it'll be a huge time saver / you're gonna be golden. You won't have to, as long as you get over these 5 things, you won't have to deal with the frustrations that I've been dealing with recently and from the beginning of using this thing. Alright, cool. So number 1, magnet. Excuse me. Your magnet position. That is a huge thing. Make sure that you know exactly where on the pencil or tool that you're using the magnet is. If you know where the magnet is on your tool and you can properly position it, then it's going to be a huge astronomical help. Cool? Cool. Now, to expand on that, make sure that you understand that your magnet does slide as you're touching it with your fingers, and if it moves, it's gonna bounce off orientation and stuff like that. So you're gonna have to make sure that you do things like that. Make sure that you keep that magnet in mind, because if you don't, you're just gonna have a huge issue. Cool? Now make sure, number 2, make sure that the registration or the pencil marking registration is where you need it to be. Cool? So that being said, what that means is that you have to watch not only your paper, but also watch your sketch. If you watch your sketch and you see that you're overlapping, underlapping, or whatever, make sure you pay attention to that. Because if you don't, you're going to have a huge issue. You're just going to. Cool? To expand on that, make sure that you're consistently reorientating your pencil. Because let's say if you turn your pencil to the side and now you're getting lines here instead of getting lines here, make sure that you orientate not only with your hand by putting the magnet over the tip of your pencil and drawing almost at a 90 degree, kind of like a printer. Make sure that you also hit the orientation button. Like let's say you want to draw with your pencil at an angle and you know that your magnet is here where my thumb is. Make sure that you know your lines are going to show up wherever the magnet is, not where the pencil tip is. So make sure you do that. Cool? Number 3, orientation of the tool. That is a huge thing, right? So make sure that, like I just said, you know where the magnet is, and make sure that you understand that the magnet is what's drawing. It's not the pencil. It's not your tool. It's not the pencil. It's the magnet that you're using on that tool that's registering the sketches on the piece of paper that's on the Slate 2. I know I'm harping a lot about this, but it's something that you're gonna forget. So if you can remember this sooner, the better. Make sure that you clearly understand that it's a magnet. And hit the orientation button. Make sure that you're watching it go from white to purple. It's a huge deal. It's a massive deal. Because it's almost basically the only deal for this, right? Because you're using this piece of paper tool to transfer it to digital, right? So that's basically the biggest thing on this list is the orientation of your tool. So as long as you have that clear, doesn't matter what tool you're using, just make sure that whatever tool you are using, you keep it nice and orientated. You know, tap in the middle of the paper, make sure it turns purple, make sure you get the right registration, make sure you're holding your tool at the right angle, all that good stuff. That is huge. Cool? Number 4? Yeah, the opacity. The opacity is your biggest friend because the palette here, again, this is just meant for sketching, not for complete products, but if you're like me and you like to push boundaries, the opacity is going to be your best friend. By increasing and decreasing the opacity in the sketch at any point in time is going to help you get that small amount of variety that you need. Like, let's say if you just have to have your blacks really black and you have to have some middle ground and you have to have some light source, if you just need those 3 areas to really help the image come to fruition in your mind for this step, the opacity is going to be the way to go. You're going to want to use the opacity to your advantage. You're just going to want to do that. You're going to want to make sure that you have your opacities where you need them. I can't tell you where to start because wherever you start sketching is not me, but what I can tell you is make sure that you start somewhere it's comfortable for you and then play with it. Because it's super duper 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 important. Cool. Now the last thing is layers. Now layers are broken up into 2 things. Now layers could be either the layers that you add more layers of paper, right? And then you can change the opacity of those layers, right? To get a certain variety and variation of values. Yeah, you could do that. Or layers could also mean layers of opacity that you're laying down. For example, if you want a really dark red, just so you can know where the dark reds are going to be in the final product, right? Then what you do is you can lay down a layer of gray and then over it, with the opacity turned down, you can lay down several layers of red until it's a little dark red. You know, not too much, because it's not going to be super dark crimson, but at least you'll know that, hey, that red is a little darker than the one that's over here that's like screaming bright. So just as long as you have those points of reference, then you'll be able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So just remember, you can layer it with the opacity, or you can layer it by using the actual layers, kind of like in Photoshop or any, you know, artistic piece of software that has layers, you know, and anything, because that's basically how they all work. You know, they have layers and stuff like that. So you can still use this just like that. Now, if this in any way, shape, or form helped you out, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear it. And if you have any further questions, also leave a comment down below. Do not forget to hit the like button, because it really does help me out. And if you haven't done already, go ahead and mash that subscribe button. And as always, happy drawing. This is the last day of December 2016. 2016. So, Happy New Year. Keep drawing. Peace out, you guys.